let's see. Oh, there we go. I
Awesome.
think we are
Can you hear us and see us
live
now?
now. Yay for live streaming.
Yes. We thought we were live a couple seconds ago and then something happened.
Okay, let's see. Let's see. Orange health. Orange stream health. Let's see if that gets better.
From San Diego. How awesome is that? Yay, we are live. I see it. It's popped up. We are here and
All
ready to go.
right. Oh, that gave me a semi heart attack there. Aloha, everyone. First off, thank
Yes.
you so much for the birthday wishes. Oh my gosh, it's not every day you turn 21,
That's
so
right. We're going to go out to the bars tonight. Oh, wait. No, we can't.
oh my gosh. Now, like every sound check, before we get going, we need your help to see if everything is sounding good, if everything is looking good. We are
Awesome, Pete. Thanks for letting us know
always
that.
experimenting with things, and we have a little different setup today, so we just want to make sure everything is sounding as clear, as possible. There's no weird hums or anything like that.
Yes.
Um,
Aloha, folks in Germany. It's great to see you guys.
well,
Yay.
I know. I love
Yes.
seeing people from all over. It's
Yes.
oh my
And the
gosh.
Netherlands. Oh, how awesome. That's
That is the
fantastic.
power of the ukulele. It brings
Yeah.
people from all over.
Yeah.
It is such
Very
a
true.
universal and beautiful instrument.
Yeah.
All right.
Austria. Awesome. Fantastic.
Now, as mentioned a bit earlier in the chat, everything that you need for today will be on screen. So you don't have to have any printouts for today.
Mm-mm.
We will be sending to our mailing list all the PDFs that we utilize in today's stream.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason is that we do have some prepared material, but a lot of this today will be live kind of whiteboarding, and I will be doing PDFs as we go along. So I want to
Right.
make sure it includes all of that as well. But just a quick example of what some of the stuff we have down is going to look like this, without that sound check logo. But
Yeah.
um, there'll
That's
be
for
a bunch of
later.
things like that, and also some, again, live changes that we'll make on the fly.
Yeah.
Um,
And also, one other thing too about the PDFs, if you are not on our mailing list, and I'll say this multiple times throughout, if you go to our website and go to the live stream video page, there is a place where you just sign up on our mailing list, and it takes you to the page with all of the PDFs. We decided to create a place where all the PDFs for our live streams live. I'm still updating it with some of the past live streams, but I just wanted to make it so that, once you input your email address, you have access to that page, and you can have all the PDFs that we've created for our live streams, so you can go back and watch them and enjoy them. But I'll mention that again. It's our website, craigandsarah.com, and then you'll click on the live streams and videos, and then you'll see it. It's a form you'll fill out, and it'll take you right there. But if you're on a mailing list, we'll just send you the PDFs directly.
oh, I'm so glad people. We had some of the most amazing comments and emails about last week's muting and
Yes.
scratching workshop. That is one of my favorite ones to teach live at festivals. I'm so glad you guys enjoyed it. And again, we're actually going to be referencing that a bit later in this stream, because again, it's such a versatile tool. So you'll see us kind of
Mm-hmm.
expanding on that as well. So if you haven't checked that out, last week's live stream with muting and scratching, definitely check it out.
Yep.
Oh my! I love seeing everyone from like Germany and the UK.
Yep.
We are so sad we're not going to be able to visit this year.
Not this year.
Oh my
Yeah, it's such a
gosh.
bummer. And I mean, and the other place I really want us to go to is the Netherlands, because I have friends that live there, and I know that there's several of you guys in the chat. Ik spreek een klein beetje Nederland, maar ik spreek het al niet goed. So I always teach in English. Sorry, but Craig has never gotten to go there, and I love that country. So hopefully we'll get a chance to go there too, when things are a bit more stable, of course.
Oh, comma. Oh my gosh. I love watching you play, man. It's so much fun. Thank you for all that you do. This is gonna be
Mhm.
so much fun.
And
So
oh,
oh,
sorry.
go ahead.
I was just going to say, and I also want to say a special thank you to the Ukulele Club of Winnipeg. They're the ones that
Hmm.
have sponsored this workshop, and they're the reason that we are having it. So thank you guys so much. Tim, who originally contacted us because the Ukulele Club also puts on the Prairie Jamboree, I believe is what it's called. I have to double check. I'm sorry, Tim, if I'm messing that up. But it's a uke fest in Winnipeg, and we were supposed to be there. It was us and Little Rev and Gerald Ross and Milo Fultz on bass. And unfortunately, just the way that everything has been going, they made the decision to postpone. So we were able to work with them in order to get this, so at least we could have us kind of be there in spirit. So thank you so much, Ukulele Club of Winnipeg, again for sponsoring this event. We are
And we do
super
have
excited.
new dates for next year, and hopefully
Yes.
these will be safe dates as well. We just it's so hard, and it's so hard for anyone that's doing these kind of events to plan around because we just don't know. So again, we thank you guys all for your patience while everything is still kind of getting sorted, and it's just a scary time. But we just hope you guys are being as safe and healthy as possible.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm so glad to hear that many of you guys are still enjoying the mini fests. They are up for you to continue to enjoy. Anytime you want to feel like you've got company over, put them on and just have them going on the TV. And also, somebody was asking a question. Hold on. Somebody asked about our mics, about what they are. What are they again? I know they're Shures. SM70s. Shure SM70s, and we have the 7B. Oh, sorry. Obviously, I'm not the technical one. But so Shure SM7B, and we both have them. And then we also they have it's a cloud lifter thing, but it basically helps boost the signal, and that way that way we can sound our best. So we just recently got me this one just so that we can sound the same. It's something that we've been wanting to get for a while, but we've just kind of been making do with all the stuff that we have. So it was nice to be able to finally get it so that we can each sound the same.
There is some exciting news about mics that we'll unveil this week. Hopefully, I'm excited. But sorry, this is like the last of our frozen
Girl Scout cookies.
Girl Scout cookies, and I haven't had breakfast yet, so this will tide me over. Would you like a cookie?
Sure, I'll take a cookie. Delicious. They're so good. Thank you. The last of the Thin Mints. Those of you who know, if you know, you know, as they say.
Now, before we start, we still have like 17 minutes. Are there any questions that we can help answer?
The camera. They asked what kind of cameras we have. Yes, Pete, the birthday chocolate has already begun. Delicious.
Oh my gosh, I gotta show you a picture.
Craig wrote in the comments about our cameras, the Canon EOS R.
Yeah, we had them
like
for
those.
a while now. I love those cameras. Much lighter than the 5D Mark IV that we used to lug around.
And also those of you asking about the Weechi, he is currently napping, but I know he will wake up soon. So when he does, I'm sure he will make a cameo. And I believe Craig actually did set up the cam. So on occasion, we'll be able to pan to him once he is awake.
So I need to showcase these amazing, what are they called? Candied apples? That my brother and his family sent yesterday for my birthday. They're amazing. Let's see.
Oh my gosh, so many people are asking about our tech stuff.
So we got this. This was from the Colorado
No, Boulder Chocolate something or other.
Rocky Mountain Chocolate Factory.
That's
I
right,
think.
Rocky Mountain Chocolate Factory.
But they're amazing. So thank you guys for that.
What are the best strings for a baritone uke? Okay. Strings are incredibly subjective. So honestly, you're just gonna have to go on what I call a string quest, in order to find the strings that you like. There's so many. They're tactile, and everybody has different touches and sounds that they prefer. I am, like, for example, I am not a big fan of Aquila strings. I don't like how they feel under my fingers, and they don't always give me the sound that I'm going for, whether it's baritone or traditionally tuned ukes. However, some people love them. That's just the way that it is. I'm not saying that they're bad. It's just they're not my preferred string. So unfortunately, I cannot actually answer your question of what is the best baritone strings, because that unfortunately will have to be up to you and going on your quest. One thing that I do that is a bummer about baritone is there's not as many options out there. So some people do actually go through and get guitar strings and things like that. I think Benny Chong uses a mix of strings when he does his. His is reentrant baritone with a high D on top. So I hate that my answer to you is I don't have an answer, but unfortunately, there's not really an answer of what's the best.
Now, for those of you who are asking about tech questions, I'm gonna post in the comments. And for one of the tech rehearsals that we did for the Mini Fest #1, we actually broke down our entire setup and how we used different software to get everything running as smooth as possible. Let me see.
And our setup has changed slightly since that episode, but for the most part, it's pretty spot on. Oh, also, one thing about the strings too. Craig and I work with GHS Strings. They're a wonderful company, and if you're ever trying to figure out your own custom string set, they will work with you. Our contact there is a dear friend of ours named John Moody. If you send us a note about and you're wanting to get in contact with John, just let us know. Just email us, chimazel@gmail.com, and I can get you in touch with John because he's actually helped many of our students who have wanted different customizations of strings.
And also, if for those of you who are exploring more tech
Oh, true.
things, tomorrow night I'm going to be sitting in on Ukulele's Zoom group meeting, and the theme is all tech related. So we're going to break down everyone's setup and what people are suggesting. And for me, I'm gonna be talking about how to utilize things that you already have, so we don't have to break the bank just for a little bit of quality increase. There's so many things that we can do with just proper lighting and angles that will make things look and sound extremely well without having to spend thousands of dollars. I
Oh,
wonder.
Bettina, Cameron is napping right now. He'll be making an appearance very soon, I promise.
I'm not sure exactly. I would find Lenny on Facebook and ask him for the details to get onto the Zoom
Oh,
thing for tomorrow
yeah.
if you guys are interested. All
And
right,
Lenny's
these
not
are
super hard
great
to find.
questions. Good morning, good morning. Yes, and if you guys watch that video and still have questions on our tech setup, definitely send us an email, chimazel@gmail.com, and ask away.
Somebody says PDF library. What PDF library? I literally just created it, actually. So for PDFs in the future for our live streams, not the mini fests. Those are different. But for our live streams, what I have done is if you go to our website, craigandsarah.com, and you click on live streams and videos, you'll see at the top of the page, there's a form that you fill out. And once you fill that out, it'll take you to the place that has all of the live stream PDFs that we've done. I'm still updating it. I have the most recent ones up. It's some of the older ones from last year. I don't have all the PDFs up for yet, but I'm slowly updating it. I'm not going to have the PDFs up for this particular one for probably 24 hours because I may have to do some edits and things just to make sure that we have everything that we've covered in the one PDF. So just give me like 24 hours and then those PDFs should be up and running from this particular live stream.
And I'm so excited. Now, I have a question. Oh, how do you have both of you on together? And in the mini fest, how do you use Skype for the performers, but still have Craig or Sarah in a separate window? So OBS is the main software controller that you can put in all these different video signals or media windows, and you can move them around as such.
I will be right back.
So, for example, the sound check guy here, I can move around like this. Um, and again, it's first of all, the great thing about OBS is that it's free, and we're using Skype to bring in the guests using NDI. Again through OBS. I'm currently using a switcher that controls our cameras together, but that's kind of separate. Thank you so much, Cynthia. Um, so again, that's all kind of in that video for that tech rehearsal. But please send us a note if you have more questions on that, because I love helping out. And again, the philosophy that we have too is, we've always been as open as possible with other artists and with other people, because we want to see the community grow. It anytime someone does well in the uke scene, everyone benefits from it. So we're always trying to do our best to help nurture that community. So definitely let us know. Now, question for you guys in the next 9 minutes. So for those of you who have caught our mini festivals, would you guys be interested in a third one? And the reason I'm asking like this is, the 7 to 9 hour festivals take exponentially longer to organize and to test run and to get everything set, and that's not even including the 9 hours or actually 12 hours that day of setup plus going through everything. We were thinking, well, we're still gonna do some smaller events like 3 to 4 hours maybe, but for me, that I loved the mini festivals mainly because it felt as close to like a physical festival that I felt so far in all of this craziness. And I'm just kind of curious, would you guys, you know and to me, what's helped is that everyone was so gracious with the donations for the packets for the second one. Was that something you guys would be able to help with, like $15 to $20 per packet, just to so we can take care of the artists who are giving their time for this. You know Keep me updated, because again, we we don't want to hold back from anyone. And just like we said in second festival, if you couldn't afford a $5 packet, because I know times are so crazy, and especially for those that want to fix income, we made sure that even if you couldn't do $5, we had your back. People paid it forward. But if you guys think that it was definitely like worth it for that day, definitely let us know, because I do have some ideas, but I wanted to kind of gauge. Hmm. I I am thinking about festival shirts. I at least stickers. Okay. These are some. See, this is fantastic. We love feedback, and we had a lot of feedback from emails and whatnot from the first and second one. But this is always good to kind of see where people are at, and again, we're doing this for you guys. So this is great to hear. Okay. Now, one idea, so to make sure that there is a bigger space. I'm thinking about doing a bunch of workshops in the quote unquote, depending on where you live, in the morning sections, a nice big chunk of interviews and performances, and then ending back with more of the workshops to give you that kind of mental break. But we've been experimenting with the formats and seeing what really helps. And again, the nice thing is that everything is recorded, so you can always go back. But there is something to be said about like having everything on one day. Okay. Oh, awesome. Oh, Paul, that is kind of weird. I shouldn't. we shouldn't be jumping from stereo to mono. Let me make sure. Yeah, we should be in mono actually. Huh. Okay. Awesome. And if you guys have any feedback as well, definitely send us a note via email. We love being able to kind of cater to you guys. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Oh, okay, perfect. Thanks, guys. This is great feedback. Okay. Awesome. Yeah, that's the hard thing about the especially the live stream stuff is that there's always something a little wonky that that happens no matter what we do. Awesome. Okay, so we have about 4 minutes left. Are there any questions? Oh, is that the baby?
He's dressed for his Zoom meeting, so
Oh my
he's formal on top
gosh.
and casual on the bottom.
Oh my gosh, look at this guy. Look at this guy. Oh my gosh. Say hi.
Yes, he's in his Zoom
He just woke up from his nap. So,
meeting attire.
yes, I mean that this is so as much of you guys as much as you love the first two mini fests, let's imagine if we had a little bit more help with the little one, how much we could do. I'm so excited. So, oh my gosh. Okay.
Yes.
All right, I'm gonna switch to Sarah's camera for a second. I'm gonna put him down.
Okay. He should be in a pretty good mood. Maybe tummy time first, or do you want to do heads up, or do you want to put him on his back first?
We'll see. I'll put him on his back first.
Ah, Argentina, how cool! I'm glad that you guys enjoyed Cam's little outfit. Displaying. Oh, you guys, you're all so sweet. Yes, I like that. Putting on the Ritz. Yes, he is very dressed up today. I'm glad the term wee chi has stuck. That's awesome. Sometimes it's funny. He's definitely a morning baby. Like he loves the morning and he's super, super happy. And for today, there's no songbook or handout for today. Everything, we're just going to have it all here and all on screen for you. So you actually don't really have to worry about it. Afterward, about 24 hours, you'll be able to go to our website and pick up the PDFs there. But just give me 24 hours in order to get everything put up and all of that stuff. Yeah. The Ukes in Space festivals this weekend. Yes, I'm so glad that folks have been able to do the Ukes in Space weekend at Ashokan. I thought it was a brilliant idea when Ben made the announcement that they were going to be doing that. It's really, really awesome. So, yay for that festival. We popped in for the concert. We enjoyed getting to watch our friends. It's really nice. One thing I do like about all of these events is I love that even if we're not officially at the event, I love that we can join and we can actually watch, and it's pretty cool. So I think Craig is going to have the cam up. Aw, you guys. Yay. So there's Cam. He's hanging out. He's very into his hands, and he is into his feet as well. He's a ladies' man, as you can see. Yahoo!
Now, can you actually go over the schedule for today?
I actually am not 100% sure who's starting off, Mr. For me, okay, so I will be starting us off. Today, I'm going to be going over a song that the club has requested, the tune Sweet Georgia Brown. I'm going to be going over using extensions and being able to play slightly different chords while your neighbor is playing the regular chords, just kind of adding a little bit to it. And then Craig will be going over his sort of like a mini boot camp, as it were. He's got a bunch of different things that he's going to want to cover. So it should be a lot of fun. So, but I'll be starting us off today.
Yeah, for my mini boot camp, I'm gonna force you guys to go way back and we're gonna look at some foundation building, some exercises that really help hone in some of the techniques that you can do in basic forms, but at the same time relate them to all of the advanced stuff that you see us doing on stage.
And also, just want to do another shout out, and I'll do this throughout the live stream. Excuse me, just as a reminder, a special thank you to the Ukulele Club of Winnipeg. Or is it the Winnipeg Ukulele Club? Now I'm doubting myself. But thank you guys so much for sponsoring this event. We are so excited, and also thank you for sending us the song so that we can actually cater this workshop to your club's needs. So thank you guys so much. Yeah. How
Alright,
fun.
I think it's time to officially get started. We are off of soundtrack.
Woo! All right. I guess we're just going to hop to it. Awesome. Oh, good. I'm glad people are still doing the hand exercises and stuff. That's fantastic. I'm just double checking something real quick. There we go. So, welcome to the sponsored Ukulele Club of Winnipeg workshop live stream. We are really excited. We're going to work today on a song that they requested, which is Sweet Georgia Brown. So before I get started with the PDF and everything, I just want to kind of talk a little bit about the idea that we're kind of going to go over, which is playing chords, not playing the exact same thing as your neighbor. So it's really fun. Playing in a group is awesome. You get to, that camaraderie and all of that great stuff. But, if everybody's just playing, actually it would be more like just the D7, right, for a while. Eventually you are going to get bored, just you as a player. And so what I found for myself when I would play at uke clubs is that I would pick a chord a week and I would change it up and I would play maybe in another position. And then eventually I'd start using substitutions, which is some of what we're going to go over today. And we'll also talk too about playing in other positions as well, because that's going to be very important. Especially when you have a song like Sweet Georgia Brown, where you sit on chords for a really, really, really long time. Eventually, again, you'll just kind of say, I wonder if I can do more. So one thing, let's actually pull up the simplified version of Sweet Georgia Brown, which I think is on the second page. Okay, so we've got our chords there, and I'm going to actually just pull up to make sure I'm looking at the same thing as well. So let's kind of go through. So what I did here was I made a box chart instead of having the lyrics and stuff. And I'm going to just hum the melody because I actually don't know the lyrics very well. Craig and I both, I knew there was lyrics, but when I was really little, I didn't know the song had lyrics because I knew it from the Globetrotters. And so I thought you just whistled the melody. And Craig and I were actually talking about that earlier today. So what I've done there is we are in 4/4 time. Each box represents 4 beats. The D7 that's listed, just keep playing it all throughout. I left it blank, but it's D7 for 4 measures. Next line is G7 for 4 measures. Then you have C7 for 4 measures. And then it switches up and you have an F6, but you could play a regular F chord there if you'd rather. And then a C7, and then an F6, or again, you could play an F chord, and then A7, and then it repeats. But you'll notice that there's a purple 1 and a purple 2 listed in this little bit of text. So number 1 in purple just means that is our first ending. When it's time to repeat, we're going to repeat the first two lines, the D7s and the G7s, but then we will go to the purple number 2, which is our second ending, okay? And that's what's going to be a little bit more complicated. And you'll notice I actually have a first position walk down happening. I am in the second ending box on the second line. You'll see there's an F7 and E7 and an E flat 9, ooh, fancy chord, and a D7. So in the original sheet music that we were given, the club actually plays this higher up on their fretboards. And so I wanted to give them another place that they could play this walk down. But I'll chat about the second position area a little bit later. Okay, so let's just go through super tempo del lerno and play through. All right? Think about the speed. Do, 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 do. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, D7. Do, 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 do. G7. Do, 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 do. Da, 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 da. C7. Da, da, da. Bam, ba, ya, ba, dee, da, da, da. F6. Da, da, da. C7. And da, da, da. A7. Repeat. Dee, da, da, dee, da, ba, da, dee, da, da, da. Da, da, da. Ba da ba ba, second ending. Ba 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 da ba. Ya da 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 da. Oops, I played the wrong D7 there. Sorry. Let's do that again. F7. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ba ba ba. Da 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 da. Sweet Georgia Brown. And then it would repeat. So sorry about my mistake there. You could play any D7 you want. I was just trying to create that walk down, which is why I have that Hawaiian D7, as we call it, listed. So, as you see, that D7 and G7 and C7, the first time around, you sit on that for a really long time. And you could, go through and do different positions. The next position of a D7 that you have is if we were to move the bar up to the 5th fret, and add a finger to the C string to the 6th fret. So I'm holding 5, 6, 5, 5. So this is another D7 that I could play. Or I can move down here, that D7. I can also hold that Hawaiian D7 too if I wanted. So what I could do is da da da, and then another D7 da, move it up. I could do something like that if I wanted to, or even just move between this one, right? And then the other thing that we can also do is add a 9th to it. Whenever we have something called a dominant 7 chord, you can add something called a natural extension. Now, dominant 7 is just a fancy way of saying D7, G7, okay? And if we wanted to add the 9th, it's actually really, really easy. And you don't have to know theory in order to add it on any chord that you want. So what we're going to do is we're going to hold that barred D7. And I want you to find, well, first of all, I'm going to ask a question. It is not a trick question. So if the answer seems obvious, that's probably the answer. What is the root note in a D7 chord? I will wait for just a moment for somebody to type in what the root note of a D7 chord is in the chat.
We can have Cam on while people...
Yes, Cam will be on for just a moment while I am waiting to see who is going to give me...
He's kicking that thing.
He is. Absolutely. Nobody's chiming in just yet. So... the root note in our D7, what is the name of that note? Yes, Nancy. Yes, John. Yes, it is a D. Now, on this D7 that I'm holding here with the bar, what string, and please say the string name as opposed to the number, what string has the D note in it in this particular one? All right, the string that has the D note is the C string here on the 2nd fret. That is a D note, okay? Now, in order to find the 9th note, all we have to do is add a finger a whole step up or 2 frets from the root of the chord. So if I add a finger, 1, 2, up from there, this is my 9th note. That will always be the 9th note, going a whole step up from the root. And that will sound like this. So I'm holding 2, 4, 2, 3. And if I take that note away, add it, take it away. So one thing that you could do during all of that D7 is doing do 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 do. You can add and take it away, and it'll still sound nice with your neighbor. In fact, if your neighbor's playing a regular D7 and you're playing that D9 chord, you're actually playing a larger chord together because your neighbor's got the root, because you'll notice that when we add the 9th note, we no longer have a root in the chord. And that actually, I think, sounds really, really cool. And that's one of the things about the uke, is that you have to make some compromises. You only have 4 strings, so you can only voice things certain ways. Now, this 9th thing that I've just shown you works for any kind of chord, not just dominant chords. So for example, if I was, say, holding a C minor 7, which is going to just be barring the 3rd fret here. In my C minor 7, what if I wanted to be fancy and play a C minor 9? I find where the root is, and the root is going to be on my A string. There's my C note in my C minor 7. I'm going to go up 1, 2 frets. That is the 9th note. And now I am playing a C minor 9 chord. Let's do a C major 7. Open, open, open 2, that's C major 7. Which string has my root note of my C major 7? The C string. So I'm going to add a note, 1, 2, 2 frets up. And I now have a C major 9 chord. Now, one thing that some of you guys might have noticed is that those chords look like other chords you might already know. For example, this C major 9 chord looks a lot like a G6 or an E minor 7 chord. Yes, it does. So when you get into some of these more sort of jazzy voicings, that's when I find that the ukulele is actually pretty difficult. You have to make some really smart choices in what notes you are going to play in order to make sure that the song has the same, in order to make sure that the chords have the sound that you're going for, to ensure that this sounds like an E minor 7 when you want it to be that chord versus a C major 9 versus the G major 6. Your bass player has a lot to do with making those chords have the correct sound that you're going for. It also has to do with context, what chord you play before and after, that also gives the chord the right kind of quality that you're looking for. But that is a completely different class, so I'm not going to go super into that right now. I just wanted to point that out to you because you are going to find in your uke journey a lot of chords that look alike but have different names. And you'll also start to notice that there's a reason why some of those chords look really similar, and start to notice the relationship between an E minor chord versus the C major chord, etc. But again, that's a whole other class. So thank you for bearing with me as we just move on from that. So I think that's a really cool way of adding ninths to the chords that you're playing. And so are you adding the 9th note or just playing the 9th note? I am playing a full chord when I'm adding the 9th note, and I'm getting rid of the root. Now the 9 also is usually the highest note in the chord. It's not always going to be that way on your uke. For example, that D7 that we did where we added the 9, it's actually not. It's in the middle. So that is something to just keep in mind as well. The ninth chord usually sound best when the 9th is on top. And you do not want to have your 9th note in the bass. That does not sound good. And it's not really doing what the chord is asking. So if you play low G, for example, and you put the ninth note on that G string, it doesn't always sound as good. It's not so bad because you're still in the treble clef versus if you were playing bass, but just watch out for that as you start experimenting with these nines. And it is not an add 9 chord. The C minor 9 is a C minor. It's not C minor 7 add 9. It's C minor 9. I can get into add chords another time. So all right. So we found the ninth there. Now let's go to that D7 in the second position that I showed you, which is barring the fifth fret and having a finger on that C string. Now I want you to find what string has the root note on it. It is our A string. There's a D note there, and we're going to add the ninth note, and it's going to be the highest note in our chord, so it's going to sound really pretty. And then you can take that away if you want. So something I could do maybe is, da 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 da. Right? So I could go up and then D7 and then D, add the 9. Right? And you could do some dancing on that note if you wanted to. That adds a bit more movement to your song, and you're just adding a note that will always sound nice with your neighbor, which is pretty exciting. All right. And then actually, let's go ahead and go to the first page of the thing, and that's going to have my chords and stuff listed out, so you actually have some diagrams now. So you'll notice that the D7 is what's there for that. And then I'm just going to pull it up for myself to make sure I'm looking at the same thing. So you'll see I have the Hawaiian D7 listed, and then I've got the regular D7, right? And then sorry, my screen turned off. I want to make sure I can see all of your comments in case I miss a question. So you'll notice that I did the ninth notes in red. So I have your regular D7 chord listed, and then I add the 9 in that lovely red color so that you can easily spot it. All right, G7, I've done the same thing on that line. So you have a G7 chord here, right? Now you're gonna have to rearrange your fingers if you wanna play that first position G9 chord where you have a dot here, because your root note is this open G, go up to. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna leave my index, but I'm gonna take these two fingers and go to the second frets like this. Some people, this might be cramped. You can use your middle finger and cover two strings and do this if you want. Some people have trouble barring just these two like that, so you can use 4 fingers. It doesn't really matter, whichever one you want to play, whatever gets the job done is usually what I say. And then next up, we have G7 in another position. So what I have looks like an F7, but it's on the 3rd fret here. So it's 4, 5, 3, 5, like that. Now, fun fact, you'll notice that the little dot, there's a little squiggle and it says optional on where my middle finger is. You can actually take that finger away and you have a totally different G7. Well, it's not totally different. It's a G7 where you have an open G string, which is great. This voicing works best if you have a high G uke versus a low G uke. And also, I probably wouldn't hold it in this fashion. I'm just holding it this way to show you. What I may do if I wanted to move from one to the other is first position G7, scoot up 1, 2 frets, and then spread my fingers out. And it's like gigantic G7, as Craig likes to say. So I have G7 here and move up to gigantic G7 if I wanted. Right? And you'll notice that in this particular version of G7, whether it's this one or this one, the root note is found on your E string right here. And if I wanted to play the 9, I need to add a note right here, 1, 2 frets up on the 5th fret. Now I don't know about you, but I can't really make my index do this, right? That's really, really awkward. So you're gonna need to rearrange. You have two main options that I've seen people use for making this chord. The first one is you bar the 4th fret and you do a partial bar of the 5th fret. like that. So it's 4, 5, 5, 5. I have the 3 written there just so you can see where that came from, but I'm borrowing the 4th fret and the 5th fret, like that. Or you could use 4 fingers, 1, 2, 3, 4, because you have 4 strings and you have 4 fingers, and that'll do the same thing as well. Now, a little extra note that you could add that I don't have written on the PDF is you could actually stretch your pinky up to the 7th fret. This is a 13. Ooh, so fancy. You could add that note if you wanted, or do a walk down to the 5th if you wanted. So there's also that. And you'll notice again that that 9th note is, the dot is red. So if I was playing that G7 line, I could very easily do, 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 or this one, right? I could go through and use any of those iterations if I wanted to. And then the C7 line, you'll notice that I've given you 2 C7 options. The first one is, of course, your C7 here, adding the root, or not the root, the 9th, 2 frets up from the root. So you can stay in first position if you want, there, or you can go to the 3rd fret, bar that 3rd fret, add a finger. This should remind you of that D7, but we are a whole step down, and add the 9th here. So, yes, and if the 2 bar is difficult for you, by the way, for that G9 chord, you got 4 fingers, there's 4 strings, you can do a finger per string, and that's totally fine.
Actually, I'm gonna make a quick suggestion for an alternate hold for the G9. Just a really quick one. So instead of using your index as the full bar and then middle for that 3, I tend to get a little cramped up. If I need that stretch, I'll do it this way. But if I'm just doing that G9, I'll typically do my middle finger across the 4th fret and then ring finger across the 5th, because that's naturally how my fingers kind of line up, with the middle being the longest.
And you can still do that pinky stretch even with barring it the way that Craig is telling you as well.
Yeah, so little things like that can sometimes make a huge difference. I just want to do a quick... Yeah. Thanks.
That G9 does work with a low G, yes, because the 9th note is in the middle now. It's not the lowest string. So thank you for asking that question. And thank you, Craig, for showing an alternate way of doing that. A lot of times you'll see Craig and I actually use our middle fingers a lot for bars. It's your longest finger, especially that D7 on the 2nd fret. A lot of times I'll actually utilize my middle finger. But doing this sometimes is a little bit more difficult if you haven't been doing your little pinky exercises. There we go. So C7, we've gone over. Now, A7, you have some options available to you as well, because, again, I'm just going over dominant 9 chords right now, or dominant 7s. So we've got A7. If you add the 9, you add to the A string. Nice, like that. Now, there's another option that you can do if you're moving up to the 2nd position. The traditional one you see, so we're going to skip the purple one that's in the box. The traditional A7 in another position you see looks a lot like G7, but scooted up like this, right? So I'm holding 2, 4, 3, 4, like that. Now, the problem that some folks, it's very spidery, and some folks have some issues getting there. But I love this particular voicing, so I recommend trying to get it under your fingers. However, if you are, in a bind, or you just want to switch up and use a different voicing, you can try the optional one that I have written, which is I'm on the 4th fret and it looks like G, and I have an open G string. That's another A7 right there. It has all of the notes that we need, just like this one. They're just in a slightly different order. So that's just food for thought for you. And then also this A7, I show you in the PDF, making it a 9. The root is here, and I just have to move it up here. Obviously, this looks uncomfortable. I'm gonna hold what looked like that G7, G9 in first position. Why does the 7 designation disappear? Oh, the reason why is that flatted 7th note is implied. and that note should still exist in the chord when you're calling it a dominant 9 chord. Hopefully that answers your question. Thank you for asking. That's a very good question. So our A7 options, you can move up to this one or this one, and then a 9. Sorry, not there. There. Now the great thing too about in this particular one is I can actually add some really cool movement, and all of that movement's happening on the A string, which is pretty neat. Now our A7 actually doesn't last that long, so you won't get to utilize too much there, unfortunately. But different B flat options, we were not using B flat in this video or in this particular lesson, so but real quick, I can tell you that if you have trouble with regular B flat like this, if you just take away your ring finger and play open 2 1 1, that's a B flat 6, and that sometimes is a little bit easier. But we are not using B flat in this song. Shoo! Awesome. Alrighty. So those are some of our different options. I think that we are ready to take a look at that third page when we can in the PDF. So, but basically the big thing to take away from this before we move on to the next page in the PDF is that you can add ninth notes to any chord you want, actually, and it will generally sound good with your neighbor. They will always sound great in your dominant 7 chords, and what the quickest way of doing it is to do a find the root and add a finger, a whole step up, and that will always be the 9. Now there are some voicings of your 9th chord where you have the root still in them. You can kind of, root around and try to find some of those, but most of the time on the uke, the easiest one is going to be dropping the root of the chord. Now, this does mean that this chord is going to look like some other chords in your ukulele journey. Don't worry about that just this moment. Okay, so open 1, open 2, that's an A9 technically. I just had it listed as 7 and I had the red as 9, but now you'll see in our PDF, I actually don't end up using the A9, but you can use it if you want through this. So let's just look at the music before we start to play. I have us playing a D7, and then I have that fancy symbol listed, which just means play the same thing you played the measure before, okay? Then we have the 5th fret D7, and then we're adding the 9. You're going to add that little red dot. Then we move on to the second line. I decided to keep us up in the second position area, and we are going to hold the G9 chord. And the great thing about that is if you're playing this chord, if you scoot your bar down, whoop, and then flatten, you're holding that G9 and you're kind of in the same vicinity. And then I have us doing G7 up to that next G7. Now you could do it the opposite way, where if you'd rather hold this G7 and move it down, that is also fine. I'm making you practice, which is why I did it the way I did. That's all. Next up, I am at the purple number 1. We have our C9, and then we take away a finger for the next one, and then we slide down and do C9 and C7 in the first position. Again, just for practice. You could also just do it up here the whole time if you wanted. And then I have an F6 listed. Again, you could play F if you wanted. C7, F6, A7. All right, let's look at that second ending. D minor, A7, D minor, A7. I gave you a break. I didn't change a thing. If you'd like to play different versions of A7 or A9, you may certainly do so when we get to that part. Now you'll notice though in that walk down, instead of doing the F7, E7, E flat 9, I actually made those all ninths, because then you can just take that and move it all down. So da 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 da, instead of, okay? It's up to you. They both sound great. And what I did there, as far as what are my fingers doing, you can do this and go all the way like that, where you're using the same fingers the whole time. I like to move down and then just move my index over, because then these two fingers are poised and ready for that Hawaiian D7. So let me do that one more time. So I have F9, scoot down, scoot, and just lift up this finger, scoot him over. These two fingers, my middle and my ring, go over, and then I have that Hawaiian D7. Okay, so that's what I have for that section. Then Sweet Georgia Brown. So we're gonna go a very nice tempo del lerno, okay? So that we can try to get all of these chords in. Now, worst comes to worst, you can always just play your first position chords and say, I'm not going to do those right now. And that's also totally fine. If you do that, I want you to listen to how your chords sound against the ones that I'm using, because I'm going to go through and play what's on the PDF, because that will allow you to be able to kind of hear what it'll sound like when you play with someone else. And I think what we're going to do is we'll play through this song twice. That way you can have a couple of different chances of getting to the chords, or just listening to how it sounds if you decide to just stay in one position the whole time. All right. I can't see the notes. The chat covers them. Oh no, you can actually move the chat window. By the way, I have mine popped out so that you can, there's a little, I think a 3-dot thing in the near the chat on the right side. You can click on that and you should be able to move the chat window so that it pops out. Okay. Here we go. Alrighty. Da, 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 da. All right, this is what we'll do for now. A little slower. Here we go. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, D7, D, da, da, da. Again, move it up to the 5th fret. Add a buddy. You made it. G, the 4th and 5th fret. Move down to G7. Move it up if you want. C9, take it away. C9, C7, F6, or F, it doesn't matter, C7. F6, A7, D7s. Ba ba dee da, 5th fret, da da, add a friend. Move it down to the 4th and 5th fret. Ba ba to the 1st fret and move it up. And C9. If you want, C7. Move down to C9, C7. Second ending D minor. Da 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 D, sorry, 1 D minor, A7. A D minor, A7. All right. F9, E9, E flat, D7, G7, C7, C. Again, D7. Ba, 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 dee, da, do. Cameron's singing along with us. 5th fret. Oops, I messed up. Let's try this again. 1, 2. I was too busy looking at my son. I'm sorry. 1, 2, 3. D7, D7, jump to the 5th. D7, add a friend. 4th fret, da da da. Ba ba ba, move it down. Da, move it up. C9, da. Ba ba, C7, da 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 da. C9, C7, and then F6, C7, F6, A7, D7, D7 in first position. Move it up to the 5th fret, add a friend. G9, move it down, move it up, and D minor, A7. Back to the D minor, A7. So, cool thing there is we've went through it. We did it twice, even though I'm so sorry I messed up, distracted by Cameron. He has started to sing along with us on things, which is actually really, really darn cute. So hopefully you were able to hop in and grab some of these chords. Now, granted, I threw all of them in. If I'm practicing this, I probably wouldn't do all of this all at once. You'd probably hear me do something like this. Do, 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 do. So I might stay on the G9 instead of moving around with those other G7s. Or I might do do, 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 do. Remember the 13 da, 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 that I talked about? And then da, 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 dee, dee, dee. I might not do all of that. I might just do da 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 ba ba da 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 ba na da dee. And so I'm actually using the second position A7 here because it leads well to this D7 if I wanted to jump up here for the repeat. Add the 9, take it away. Da 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 da, D minor, da, and I could do D minor up here if I wanted, but da 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 da, Sweet Georgia Brown, right? So you don't have to do everything how I wrote it. Again, this is purely just to make you practice and see different things that you could do. So please don't take this as like, this is how you have to, this is not an arrangement. It's me just kind of saying, here are chords to try, and you can do whatever you would like with them regarding it. And also, even for that walk down, ooh, if I wanted to add the 13s to it, that's a lot of work. Also, in the worksheet that we were given that the Uke Club uses, they actually use the F7 that should remind you of this D7 here, but woot, doot, doot, on the 5th fret. Da, 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 da. So you can do that if you would rather not do this. That is also an option. So again, that was barring the 5th fret. I have a finger here on that A string on the 6th fret. Bless you. Move it down. And you just move it down till you get to the D7, which is pretty awesome. Now, is there a place that I can find second position chord charts? Honestly, my favorite book to get, I know there's lots of apps and stuff out there. I like having a book. I'm kind of old-fashioned. Is a Treasury of Ukulele Chords by Roy Sakuma. I love that one because it has the 4 main positions of chords all laid out. First, second, third, and fourth. Some chords do have fifth positions you could play in. There's also other ones that have like little, I don't want to say cheater chords, but ones like that A7 I showed you where it looks like a G.
Yeah, but typically you'll have the 4 big movable shapes for each chord, which is nice.
Yeah. And so can I say again how to add the 13? So the 13 that I added was the chord that looks like this on our G9. I'm holding 4, 5, 5, 5, and I'm just adding my pinky a whole step up from that bar. So if my chord looks like this, whether it's down here for F9 or a G9, if I just add my pinky a whole step up, that's going to be the 13. So that's why doing there works, because this is the same pattern, and if I know this pattern is my 9th pattern, I can add that 13th note, and that will always be the 13th note in that particular pattern. So is it possible to have one finger cover the C and G string on F6? Absolutely. So that question was here, can I just have one finger cover 2 strings like that? Yes, you may. Whatever gets the job done. One thing to just be careful of, especially if you're very arthritic, is sometimes bending your finger in this manner can actually aggravate your arthritis. I have trouble holding chords that way with over here. I can do it here a little bit easier for things like A minor 7, but having it cross at an angle like this sometimes actually hurts a little bit. The book name again was A Treasury of Ukulele Chords by Roy Sakuma. I'm not I think Amazon sells it, but
I just put it in the chat.
Awesome. Thank you. It's best to buy it from Roy himself if you can, which I believe is actually the site that Craig listed it from.
I had like 3 of these. One in my car growing up in Hawaii, one in my uke bag, it was just a great reference. And this is exactly how we kind of utilize these shapes in our workshops and in our school.
Yeah.
It's just a fantastic resource.
Yeah, it is really awesome. So, Ukulele Club of Winnipeg, thank you guys so much for supplying this song to be the one that we're going to work on. I'd like to play through it one more time, if that's okay, Craig.
Yeah, and did you mention the muting that you were doing?
No, thank you for reminding me of that. So, you might have noticed that when I wasn't going through and playing it at the Tempo di Lerno, that I was actually doing something else too. I was making a little bit more syncopated. And so, I ended up, what I am doing is I'm actually muting in between every single chord. If you want to learn more about muting and scratching, that was actually what we did at our live stream last week. So you just go to our YouTube channel, you're already here, but you can find that lesson where we talk about, where Craig teaches muting and scratching. Basically what I'm doing is if I'm covering all the strings, I'm releasing the pressure to make that happen. It looks magical. So, and the other thing that I'm also doing is I am putting the emphasis on a different place. So the emphasis of where I'm strumming is on the second and fourth beat. That makes the song have a little bit more swing. So what I'm doing is a soft strum on the first one and then a louder strum on the second. So you can see that I'm muting the mute. I don't necessarily have to mute after the first one. I do, but you could just go and then release. But let's go through and play through it. You can use whatever you want. I'm going to just try to play what the PDF says just to stay consistent. Play whatever you'd like. We're going to go through it. Feel free to do muting if you would like. But if you want to learn more about that muting technique as well as the scratching technique, definitely check out that live stream that we did last week, which I believe for just the future, since this will be recorded. I don't remember what date that was. That's all right. You'll find it, muting and scratching one. All right. So it's slower. Do da dee da dee da da. One. Oh, Cameron. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Do da 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 da. Move it up if you're moving. Add a friend. 4th fret. Do da dee da dee. Move it down. Move it up if you want. C. Dee da 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 da. F6, C7, F6, A7, and D7, D7. Move it up, add a friend, and G9, G9. Move it down if you want, move it up if you want. C9, C7, C9, C7. Second ending, da da. Oh, I just realized I totally messed up. I'm so sorry. Let's try it one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4, D7. I'm sorry about that. G9, move it down. C9 and C7, C9, C7, F, C7 and F, A7 again. This time I won't mess up the second ending, I promise. G9, move it down, move it up. D minor, A7, D minor, A7. Move it down. G7, C7, C. Thank you guys for bearing with me. I'm so sorry that I tried to play that C7 line one more time. But as you can see, that's just changing up your chords a little bit. There's even more that you can do with this song. You can change up your picking, you can change up the strumming, but just try, with the songs that you play in your club, try out adding ninths whenever you'd like, especially with dominant 7 chords. Those are usually going to sound really nice with your neighbor. And I usually say pick a chord a week and you'll focus on that chord in either a new position or adding that extension. And you'll find that you can add a lot to your jams just by adding one note. I always like to say what a difference one note makes. So that's it for this. I am going to be grabbing Mr. Cam. That way, Craig can get started and show you guys some really awesome tips and things for that mini boot camp. So thank you guys so much. And again, thank you to the
Do you want to answer a couple questions
Winnipeg
first,
Youth
and
Club.
then-
Okay. Let me take a look at the quick questions. And thank you guys for thanking the Youth Club as well. Hi, Baba. Nom, 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 nom. So let's see real quick. One beat one, do you hit one string on beat one? So on beat one, a lot of times I'll hit maybe one or two strings. Just it's a very delicate strum, if that makes sense. I'm not trying to only hit one, but I'm just trying to make it light. So it might mean that I hit two strings or I might hit just one in that really light touch. So yes-ish to answer that question. How do you recommend ringing clearly on that G9? So the G9, because of the bar, the biggest thing is to using counter pressure, and maybe Craig can chat a little bit about bar chords during his time to discuss that, because it really is about utilizing your own body to help with counter pressure so that you can have that A string ring nice and clear. Awesome. I'm so glad. Oh, good. I'm stretching people. Fantastic. Awesome. Now, don't sign off because we've got more coming up with Craig for sure. So thank you guys so much. I'm hanging out with my son, Mr. Cameron Chi, or as we also call him, the wee Chi. Oh, aloha, Brian. It's good to see you. Oh, hi, Jeff and Glenna. Awesome. Are you joining in on the laughing, honey? Cute baby.
All right, so I'm gonna work you guys hard. No, so mini boot camp, to me, this is again, for me, I always love teaching this class because we realize right away if there's any holes in a foundation. You know, a lot of times when we're learning something, we just keep pushing ahead. We keep trying to do as much as possible without necessarily getting a really strong foundation to start. So this is going to be a quick lesson on some drills and exercises to really get some of these fingers in shape. And let's see. And then we'll have a special guest at the end of the stream, which will be fun. Okay, so let's get started. First off, quick hold recap. I usually always start my workshops with this, but I'm going to go a little bit quicker today since we are kind of long so far. But here's my first big thing. Keep your left hand up, keep your wrist nice and straight, and make a fist. Let go, make a fist, let go, make a fist, let go, make a fist. There is tons of power here, right? Now, I want you to bend your wrist like so, and make a fist. Sorry. Not that easy, right? So, what we're gonna try and do is, for a lot of these basic chords, a lot of it is gonna be based off of the straight wrist. So, having your hand up like this notch in your ukulele, we're gonna let drop on that index finger. We're gonna let the thumb naturally drop to the side. So there is a puka, there is a hole right here. Because if you put it too far into this grip, there's too much finger over, and that's where you get the fingers that concave awkwardly or don't know whether they should bend one way or not. So again, straight wrist, let that notch rest on your index finger where it touches your palm. Let the thumb, just the tip, hang out on the side. And again, all of the chords here, this is all using that straight wrist, and you can see my forearm moving, which are much bigger muscles than trying to pinch with the thumb. And again, it's the difference of that leverage compared to squeezing like this. We don't have as much leverage there. Guitarists will do that because they need that reach. But again, for a lot of it, there will be some manipulations, especially for bar chords, where we have to come out a bit. But for the most part, I can maneuver these four fingers any way that I want because of that resting and leverage. So again, I can go from a C to a G, to A minor, to F, to G7, to E7, to A7, to D7, G, without any of this going on, right? Okay, so this this is super important to me. If you are, I have a longer video that talks about this. If you are having some issues, um, I'll put that in that links in that same where you get the live stream PDFs. I'm gonna make sure to label it so that they can find the left hand thing
Oh,
for
you
the
have a
live streams
PD.
for
You
the
have,
videos.
oh, for the
Okay.
videos are in a different
Yeah.
spot. Yeah. Yeah.
So we'll have that up and running. If you're on our mailing list, we'll give you a direct link. We'll put it on our next mailing list out as well, because that is so important to me, because I injured myself when I first started playing by just death gripping, and I couldn't understand why I was so sad and in so much pain playing such a happy instrument. So um, now let's go back to that hold for a second, and we're gonna talk about Aldrine's Spider. Again, all you artist work students, I'm sure, are professional spider people already. But again, this is such a great warm up exercise. Um, all four fingers on the G string. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? We're gonna label them 1, 2, 3, 4. With that down, again, I'm just touching the strings very lightly. I'm not squeezing hard. Now, we're going to lift off numbers 3 and 4 at the same time. Boom. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Drop them down one string below, but the secret is you have to drop them at the same time or else you're cheating. Good. 1 and 2 off. And then follow to the C string. Make sure they land at the same time. 3 and 4 down again to the E string. 1 and 2 follow. 3 and 4 down again to the A string. 1 and 2 follow. Let's work our way back up. 3 and 4. Make sure they come off and on at the same time. Come up with 1 and 2. 3 and 4. 1 and 2. 3 and 4. 1 and 2. Awesome. Now, version 2. 1 and 4 comes off. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Drop them down one string below. Make sure they land at the same time. 2 and 3 off and follow. 1 and 4 down. 2 and 3 follow. Again, be very light. Don't squeeze too hard. We're not playing. 1 and 4 down. 2 and 3 follow. Good. Let's work our way back up. 1 and 4. Followed by 2 and 3. 1 and 4. 2 and 3. 1 and 4. 2 and 3. Now, last one. These two fingers, 2 and 4, or middle and pinky, off. Boom. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Drop them down one string below. Yes, make sure it's your 2 and 4. Yep, your other 2 and 4. Yep, middle and pinky. Then 1 and 3 off and put on. 2 and 4 down again. Followed by 1 and 3. 2 and 4. 1 and 3. Come back up. 2 and 4. 1 and 3. 2 and 4. 1 and 3. 2 and 4. 1 and 3. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Now, again, think of when you first started to learn how to tie your shoe. You know, you didn't spend hours a day practicing that particular thing, but you would do it every time, you know, you went to the park, and then it'd get undone, you'd trip and fall and cry a little bit and tie it up again. Every time you pick up the ukulele for a week, every single time you touch the ukulele, go through the sequence just once and then move on. And I promise you, after a week of doing this, you're going to feel so much more secure in everything that you do. Because a lot of these chord shapes, again, are just different combinations of these groupings. And again, we're so used to doing certain groups, when we interact with objects, but some of these things that we want to do, we need this individual finger control back, and this is one of the best ways to get that. So a huge thank you to Aldrin Guerrero. Years ago, I saw him and introduce this, and it was such a good exercise. I every day I still kind of go through it just to. Yes, the last group makes you feel like this is not even your hand, right? So one of the things I recommend doing, even just taking the 2 and 4 on and off, back and forth between the G and the C string, just to get used to that pairing, and then focus on the 1 and 3 off and on. But this is a really great way. Oh my gosh. And you're going to see this come up in a little bit, actually. Now, next thing on our list, I'm going to start checking this off. So I like having a checklist. Boom, boom. Now, the 1, 2, 3, 4. This was actually a cello exercise that I grew up doing. What this is going to do, is. Well, let's try it first. I want you to play the first fret of the A string. Okay. Then let's try the second fret. Let's try the third fret. And let's try the fourth. Now, we're going to play it together a little bit quicker. About this speed. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, if you noticed, that's not as clean as I want it to be. Here's the biggest difference. This is version 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, version 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, what is the big difference between each version? And these are the kind of things that we work so hard with our artist work students, because it's not about just playing the notes, but it's playing deliberately and with as much clarity and tone as you want it to have. The biggest difference between using these individual fingers and taking them off to get to the next is that there's a split second where the note, the string, stops vibrating. Watch this. And it feels kind of punchy, right? So in between that finger change, that vibration is stopping, so we're losing the note ringing. So this is going to be, it seems like it should be easier than it is, but what we want to do, first of all, is keep these fingers down as we walk up. So for example, so I'm allowing the note to ring as long as possible before that next note to get that longevity. But there's an issue, because instinctively we want to prep things, right? If I prep my left hand early, for example, again, it stops the note from ringing. Or if I prep my thumb on the string early, same thing happens. And again, it seems easier than it is, especially if we're used to prepping early. This is where the timing of the left hand and the right hand, you're aiming to hit the string at the exact same time. So watch this. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And this is how you're gonna have these beautiful, amazing notes that are just ringing to the very last moment. And again, it's a little trickier than it seems, I guess, especially if we're used to kind of prepping instead of. Now, I'm gonna write out some variations really quick. I want you to try that and see if you can get those notes to ring out for as long as possible before moving on. Now, So number 1 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 4. All right, here are the variations. So we just did the first one, 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're going to do that 4 times each line. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, the next group, 1, 4, 3, 4. So instead of doing this, 1, 4, 3, again, we don't want to have those bouncing fingers. So this is where the numbers are actually kind of cool. The numbers not only tell you how many, which fret to hold, but how many frets. So for example, the 1, 4, 3, 4 is going to be 1, all 4, let go of the pinky to the 3, back up to the 4. Again, 1, all 4, drop to the 3, back to the 4. Let's try again. 1, all 4, drop to the 3, back up to the 4. And again, this is where you're going to see if you're prepping early or if there's anything that's causing it to not let those notes just ring. Now the next one, 1, 4, 2, 4. 1, again, all 4, drop to the 2, back to the 4. Again, 1, 4, drop to the 2, back to the 4. Let's try the next one, 1, 3, 2, 3. 1, 3, drop to the 2, back to the 3. Again, 1, 3, drop to the 2, back to the 3. Last one, we're going to prep all 4. 4, drop to the 3, drop to the 2, drop to the 1. Again, 4, drop to the 3, drop to the 2, drop to the 1. Now, Sarah and I realized that, oh, actually it's different now that we're all quarantined, but usually we do not have hours and hours to spend a day practicing. So we try to be as efficient as possible with our exercises, with our practice. So instead of just doing, so this is your version 1, and the next one, etc. This is where we can start adding dynamics. And again, dynamics are so incredibly important because that controls how you're telling your story. Dynamics control even in our voice. Like, is it a question? Is it a statement? Is it, there's so many things that dynamics have control over. So part of, working on that is being deliberate. Like, let's say you're going to do the entire second column, you're going to play that a little bit louder. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 4, 3, 4. 1. But you can give yourself, things to work on to start practicing that control. Now, there's 2 ways of making something louder in a phrase, right? The first way is making that part a little bit louder. But what is the other way? So the other way of making something stand out is you play the other parts softer. Because if I start up here at this volume and I want to make it louder, I only have that much wiggle room. But when I start down here, all of a sudden I have this much range to pull from. And again, a lot of times, as we keep saying, especially in club settings, we tend to play too loud, and you don't hear all the nuanced things, and everything just keeps adding up. I always challenge clubs, try to play it like 70% softer, and then there's parts where you can emphasize and have these deliberate changes, but this is where you can really create that as Brian says, that ebb and flow of a song, which is so important, right? Because if we all talked at one level, it would be so boring, right? That's the whole Bueller at that same tone, and just it does. So we don't want our uke playing to sound like that either, whether we're strumming or whether we're doing solos. This is going to start giving you that chance to practice that control while still working on the timing of that left and right hand. Now, For those of you who are pushing further, you could do, you know, your double picking, where you're doing down and ups with your thumb. And I love this because, again, people always say, oh, how can you play so fast? But if you can play downs this fast, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, you're technically playing that fast because between the downs, you're coming up anyways, right? Or you can practice the more jazz style of using your middle and index for every note. So again, there's so many cool different ways of utilizing this to practice. You can work on triplets: down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, triplet, 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 triplet. But, and again, adding dynamics to that as well. This is, you know, instead of doing 300 different exercises or you know, trying to master 20 songs at once, focus on one, but try to manipulate it in a way that you feel like you have complete control over that song, so you can add in these things and still be okay and not be kind of blindsided by adding new things. And again, this is all the stuff that we love really breaking down with our artist work students. And it's so great to see you guys here too. It's awesome. And oh, before I forget too, there is a 15% off code that's still in effect. Fest 15. Fest 15 will give you 15% off any of the things on artistworks.com. We'll let you know in the mailing list as well, because it's nice having a discount, especially at this, you know, time. But let me know if you have any questions on that. How's everyone doing? Because Sarah is with the baby in the back, so I'm going to be fielding questions as well. What part of your thumb strikes the string on the way up? So I am coming down with my both my pad and my nail. Maybe there. And on the way up, it is just my nail. Now, there's a million different ways to kind of, you know, pick and like Herb, Brian, even Jake. I remember when he kind of was pushing Still in Pure Heart, and then of course we all follow Jake. So and he has the guitar pick that was, you know, aimed sideways, much more natural thing. For me, I like my tone from the thumb a little bit more than the pick, but that's just my own preference. So my wrist will come out a little bit more to use more of the corner of my thumb. To join our mailing list, you can just go to craigandsarah.com. And again, I apologize. You know, if we miss questions or anything like that, because you know, we haven't been able to have help over whenever we do live streams. So we're trying to do all of this with the 4-month-old, and sometimes questions do get lost. So I apologize in advance if we missed any of your questions. Oh, nice. Yeah, there are awesome specials and discounts throughout the years. That's fantastic. I did get a new chair. With the help of your donations, I finally replaced the 5-year-old chair. It's not peeling and like a scare for Cameron to eat parts of it anymore. So thank you guys for that. All right, moving on. So we talked about the 1, 2, 3, 4. Now let's talk about scales. Scales are the building blocks of your ukulele language. It is so important to have scales. Now the cool thing is, with scales, you don't necessarily have to memorize every single note, especially when we start moving it around, because it's the shape that really matters. But before we get into that, let's talk about let's talk about scales. So here is your grid. I should make that bigger. Yeah, let's do this. This. Oh, I love notability. That's so cool. Okay, so let's do open C, And we'll just kind of do this. Ah, I should just make a circle, huh? Circle, kind of. And let's do, sorry, let's just change this up really quick. Style, fill. Let's just fill it in with the blue, that's fine. Then we have this, oh. Then we have the second fret on the C. Then we have the open E. Then we have the first fret, third fret, open, second fret, third fret. Oh, kind of, maybe. There. So, open C. Second fret, open E, first fret, third fret, open A, 2, and 3. Again, one more time, open C, second fret, open E, 1, 3, open, 2, 3. Now, already we can use some of the things that we talked about, how we play that scale. To make notes last, again, we want to time open C and that second fret with your thumb at the same time. So open C, 2, open E, 1, 3, open A, 2, hold it down, 3. So for the E and A strings, I am keeping those left hand fingers down as I go forward. Now, that's version 1, straight up and down. Not too bad, right? Version 2. I want you to switch to your index finger if you aren't using it already on your right hand. And we're going to do all the work with that index finger. But the trick is, between every note, we're going to take our thumb and hit the open G. So it's going to sound like this. Open C, followed with the thumb. Then second fret, follow with your thumb. Open E, follow with the thumb. 1, follow with the thumb. 3, follow with the thumb. Open A, follow with the thumb. 2, follow with the thumb. And 3. So it's going to sound like. Not too bad, right? Now, of these two fingers, for this particular version, the thumb and the index, which finger is more important? I'm going to give you guys a second. It's always funny with the little delay. I have one more sip of coffee. Oh, good answers. So, in this case, the index is going to be more important. Why? Because if I was to isolate what my thumb is doing that entire time, it's just that drone note, right? But the index is doing all of the melody movement. So in this case, I'm going to have my thumb a little bit softer than the rest. Not too bad, right? But again, these are the things to think about, not just playing everything at the same level. It's always good to think about this kind of stuff. Now, version 1 was straight up and down. Version 2, alternating with that G string. Now, version 3. Version 3. Let's talk about... Yeah, we should do it. Okay, version 3. If I was to write in notes in my scale, let's change it to a red. Now, if I was to label these notes in my scale, saying, this is the first, this is the second, third note, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, and eighth. Just for reference, right? We're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now, if I was to write it out this way, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. What we're going to do here is play 3 notes in a row. So we're going to play the first 3 notes in our scale. Then we're going to take a step back and play another 3 notes. Then we're going to step back, play another 3 notes, step back, another 3 notes, etc. So, what that means, the first 3 notes is going to be open C, the second fret, and open E. That's it. Then we're going to take a step back. So we're going to go back to the second fret on the C string, open E, and the 1. Back to open E, 1, 3. Good. Back to the 1, 3, open A. Back to the 3, open A, 2. Back to the open A, 2, and 3. So the red numbers are just for reference, just to see how we're chopping that up. Now, if I was to get rid of that space in between, it would sound like this. Now this is where we can start to see how melodic a scale can be. Because again, all of the fills, all of the solos are always just going to be selective notes within a scale that we're pulling from. Yes, there'll be some cool accidentals that we can do and add to make it more unique, but for the basis, this is all of that building blocks. Now, that's version number 3, is being able to have a theme where, again, we're kind of skipping around a little bit. So we're going up 3 notes, step back 3 notes, step back 3 notes, step back 3 notes. Version 4 is going to be the exact same thing, but we're adding the index now to do all the main work, and the thumb in between every single note. So it's going to sound like this. My first 3 notes with my alternating thumb, so open C, thumb, 2, and open E, thumb. Back to the 2, open E, to the 1. We're going to step back, so open E, add the 1, to the 3, back to the 1, to the 3, open A, back to the 3, open A, to the 2, open A, 2, and 3. So, again, not bad, right? Again, this is the beautiful thing about scales and why that's going to be so important. We have other videos that we talk about moving the scales up the neck, but again, for now, focus on these different variations. We have one more variation before moving forward. Now, this time we're going to talk about hammer-ons and pull-offs. You hear that term a lot. A lot of you already play it. We're going to talk a little bit about how to make it a little bit more efficient, how to make it stand out. Hammer-ons, all a hammer-on is you're adding the note that you want to play from a string that's already vibrating. So that's the easiest way to think of it. For example, we have open C. Now to get my D note or my second fret, I'm just gonna smash that middle finger on the string after I hit the open C. So my right hand is gonna hit the C string once, and then with my left hand, I missed. I'm gonna smack down that second fret. So open C and then left hand, open C, left hand, C, left hand. Now, the trick to a good hammer-on is, again, talking about spiders. I want you to imagine that there is a poisonous Or venom. What's worse, poisonous or venomous? Venomous, yeah. Venomous. Let's pretend there's a venomous spider on that second fret. And unfortunately, we can't capture and release on this one. So he is intent on eating your eyeball. So what you have to really think about is you're not going to just slightly press down on the string. There has to be kind of a surprise attack, right? A smack. So that's what you're emulating. Because I see too many people that are trying to learn hammer-ons that are just being way too gentle. So you have to hit the C and you want to smack, surprise attack that spider before he eats your eyeball. Now, as you notice, when I first did that, right, I missed the string by a hair, and it wouldn't really ring. This is where you can stare at your finger and really focus on being so dang accurately, or accurate with that middle finger, that you're so on top of the string itself that you're not even touching the fretboard with that finger. It's just on the string. That's how accurate I want you to feel like you're hitting that. And you can practice 10 times in a row. Open, hammer, open, hammer, open, hammer, open, hammer, open, hammer. But that's, again, and you see, I'm not really using a ton of strength, but it's that distinct, pack that you want. Now, let's talk about the E string. The E string, we're going to, again, practice open to one hammer. Sounds like Jaws, right? Now, in this case, though, we're going to do a double hammer-on. So we're going to hit the open string once, the E, hammer the 1, and then hammer the 3, keeping that 1 held down. Not too bad, right? Now, middle, A string. Open A, hammer the 2, open A, hammer the 2, and then hammer the 3. So again, we're doing a double hammer-on. Now, as we strengthen these new muscles in our hand, don't be afraid, again, to kind of strip things down a little bit and focus on one at a time. So you can practice that initial hammer-on with that second fret. Then you can practice hitting that second fret and then hammering on that ring finger before you worry about the double hammer-on. So again, you can always take things back down a notch to its simplest form, and then you can practice that for a while. Now, on the way up, it's going to sound like this. So every open string, I'm only going to hit once with the right hand. Everything else is from that left hand. Oops. Now, the flip side to a hammer-on is a pull-off. The easiest way to think of a pull-off is hold a C chord for me. With that ring finger on the left hand, I want you to pluck that A string. Just pluck it. Just pluck it. That's all a pull-off is. Nice and easy, right? So in this case, for our scale, we're going to prep both the middle finger and the ring finger, because we need both of these notes. So we're going to start off with a double pull-off. So to get the C note, I'm going to use my thumb once on my right hand, and then I'm going to take my ring finger, and I'm going to do that pull. So I'm plucking with my ring finger, but keeping my middle finger on, because that's the note I need. So again, prepping 2 and 3, I'm going to use my thumb once, ring finger, pull off, then my middle finger is going to pull off to the open. So thumb, ring, middle. Again, thumb, ring, middle. And as we start, it's a little difficult to get that first pull off if we're not really used to doing it. But again, this is where you can do one at a time. So you can hold just the ring, pluck and pull just to practice. Then you can practice the second finger, and then try to do double. It will get there. Now, next string, 3 and 1, we're going to prep. And this one, I'm almost lifting straight off to get I'm not needing to pluck that much, but it's just a little bit of angle, a little bit of a hook. And my second fret for my C string to open. And this one you can literally, because it's a thicker string, it's a little bit easier, but you can hold that second fret down, pluck it once, and literally just lift it straight off, and you can get that nice pull off, even without a little bit of an angle. But a little bit of an angle will help have a little bit more deliberateness to it, a little bit more of a snap. Now, one of the cool things about hammer-ons and pull-offs is that they can add a different tone to your sound, but also it helps a lot with speed. For example, if I was to do the C scale, as fast as I could, hitting every single note, my speed is limited by how fast my right thumb can go. But with hammer-ons and pull-offs, is how fast my left hand can really go. So, with that said, again, all the scale variations we have there, but how do we actually use that in a song? I had a fantastic video exchange from a student 2 days ago, I think, where she was playing a version of falling listen to the rhythm of the falling rain, and she was playing it in G, and she was wondering, what are some things to kind of, add to it. So for example, we have let's see, G da 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 to C da da, G to D7. Now, let's try this for a second. Hold your G chord for me. So it should look like this: 0, 2, 3, 2, or let's just do this. Ooh, purple. Now, that purple note, I want you to actually take off for a second. So we're going to have an open A. I want you to do a downstroke, and then Rosemary, I will get to you in a second, I promise. So G chord with the open A, so middle finger is completely off. Then I'm gonna hammer on. I'm gonna hammer on that middle finger where it needs to be. Let's go down hammer, down hammer, down hammer, down hammer, down hammer. Now, let's try something different. Let's hold the G, and this time, add your pinky to the 3rd fret. So, let's do, same thing. Oh, that's not what I wanted. This one. Now this time, that green is going to be your pinky, and then we're going to pull off. So it's going to sound like this: down, pull, down, pull, down, pull, down, pull. Now, let's add one more pull off. So, G chord, pinky on the 3rd fret, down, pull the pinky, and then pull that middle finger. Let me get close. So here's my G, pinky added to the 3rd fret, downstroke, pull off the pinky, pull off the middle. Down, pull, pull. Now, this is really going to help you nail down your foundation, because again, having that resting spot here with my index coming around that corner ensures that I do not touch that A string whatsoever. Same thing with the ring finger, is not going to be touching. So with this hold, I should be able to easily pluck that open A with my middle finger. How do you keep your middle fingernail from hitting the fretboard when you hammer? So left hand, unfortunately, the nails do have to stay pretty short to be efficient. You can change how you hold things if you have long nails on the left hand, but it creates some other issues. That's why you would see a lot of female artists with like long nails on this side, but I don't have any nails that stick out on this side, mainly because a lot of times we have to use that tip to get that really rich sound. Um, with the right hand, all of these are short for me, except for I have a little bit of a thumbnail, but just a hair. So I'll turn. Okay, so we talked about how you can release just straight up, even again, and finding how much angle you really need to do the release. But especially with a high G, this is something you can do. You can come down, pull the pinky, pull the middle, and then thumb on the open G. So all of a sudden you have something like. Or again, the basic one we did at the first was just having the open A and hammering on that middle finger. Let's talk about the C chord. So, again, just like our scale, we're going to prep the 3 and 2. And what we can do is down, pull off the ring finger, pull off the middle finger, and then thumb on that open G. So again, prep 2 and 3 on the A, down, pull off the ring, pull off the middle, and thumb on the open G. Down, ring, middle, thumb. So if we're to do something like this, oh, G is high, huh? Listen to the rhythm of the falling rain. So these are the moments that, again, when you're arranging songs or you're writing songs, I always doing things that like mirror lyrics or mirror what you're trying to convey. I love, listen to the rhythm of the falling rain and having something cascade down to mimic that lyric. These are the cool touches that really put things in perspective of how much we can do with this voicing, added to our own vocals. So again, one more time, I'm gonna do it a little bit slower. Listen to the rhythm of the falling rain, telling me just what a fool I've been. I wish that it would go and let me cry in vain, and let me be alone again. So, again, a lot of these things are not like crazy voicings. We're just adding some hammer-ons and pull-offs. And now, going back to that G chord, again, even if you were to use these voicings with just regular strums, they would sound beautiful. G, open A, add the C note. Again, it all goes hand in hand. The more, and this is all about scales. The more theory you have, the more things you can connect, the more things you can add to your voicings. It's all connected. That's why it's so dang important. So again, very easy, accessible tools to start using this. And again, you can make it as easy or as complicated as you want. Like for some of those pull-offs, that's when you hear some of those runs that like Jake would do. Or all of these fun like crazy things. But it's or even in like where I would do a down pull and a hammer there, just to give a variety of things to add to your palette that you're hearing, and it's just, this is where, again, all of these techniques are relatively basic techniques that we can slowly add. Just starting with the scales, but you'll see us manipulate them in a way or combine them or add speed to it that really create all of these other elements that lead into all these advanced stuff that we do on stage. But again, it's all this foundation building and things that we can still utilize in our daily practice as warm-ups. But again, when you'll start to realize that a lot of the trickier stuff are all based on these basic techniques. So you guys are doing a fantastic job. Will you do the falling rain cascade lick again? Yep. So what I did for that, um, uh, it was over C chord, that section. So I prepped 2 and 3. I did a stroke down, pull the ring off to the middle, pull the middle to the open, and then follow that with open G. So I did listen to the rhythm of the falling rain, telling me just what a fool happened. Or D7. So again, I hope this has been incredibly helpful. I have a special guest coming up. In the meanwhile, I want to thank the Ukulele Club of Winnipeg again. But let's see if I can pull him up.
I finally got him down.
Okay. And then you will need your headphones, Sarah.
Okay.
Oh, and while I'm connecting,
Hopefully he'll stay down.
you know,
Little-
there's been. I wanted to say a special thank you for the people who've been donating. And a friend of ours really made this connection for me in the sense where, Sarah and I over the past 3 or 4 years now have been trying to do as much as we could around the community as well. We've done a bunch of concerts and workshops for students, elementary students here in San Diego, but all of your tips and donations help us have the time to do that kind of stuff and to do the mini fests and all that kind of stuff. So I really want to say thank you guys so much. I'm going to put this guy up there just for a little bit, but if you want to invest in all the things that we're doing, I thank you. Your reach is, everything that we do around the world, you're part of that as well. We try to do, learning from like Herboto Jr. about how much we can do for others has been just a lifelong lesson, and we try to do as much as we can. So thank you for your support. Let me plug this
And
in.
also to when you go through and watch our different videos, if you could like them, that actually would be really helpful as well. That's the little thumbs up button underneath all of them, just because that kind of helps the videos come up a little bit higher in the queue and all of that great stuff, so that we can share with as many folks as possible.
Okay.
So I'm so glad that the mini fests are legendary. Thank you.
And thank you for all the birthday wishes, guys. This was as much I tease Sarah about making me work on my birthday. It was a lot of fun to spend it with you guys.
And honestly, with what we've done, I mean, I think both Craig and I don't think this will be the first time well, not really, because we're working today, but the first time that we've not traveled somewhere during our birthdays. Usually we're at a festival or doing something on our actual birthdays. So, yep. So exciting. And I finally got Cameron down for a nap. It took a little bit of time, but we got him, thankfully. So I'm very, very, very grateful. Nice. And thank you guys so much for liking our videos and all of that stuff. We really, really appreciate it. And feel free to go back to the mini fests and like those and any other videos of ours that you do like.
And actually, I wonder.
Yes, and again, another big thank you through the Winnipeg Ukulele Club. Thank you guys so much. Hopefully we'll get to come up and see you next year. We've never been to Winnipeg, so we would really love to be able to come up and visit you guys for sure.
All right, let's see if I can get him in. It's been a while since I've done this. Let's see. Hey, Brian, can you hear us?
I cannot hear him.
Okay, how come I cannot hear him? Let's see. Monitor headphones. Huh. Let's see. Because I might. uh.
Oh, thank you guys for. So I'm seeing some people saying they're going to sign up for ArtistWorks today. Thank you guys so much. Craig did a whole bunch of video exchanges yesterday. I did a few the day before that. It's so much fun to get to help and to be able to help the students. Those video exchanges are really, really great because we get to know you. We get to really see you explore and expand your horizons as a player. And the other great thing too that I love about it is when we actually go to festivals and we see you in person. It's like, oh my god, I know you. And so we always take lots of pictures and all of that great stuff. Okay.
Brian, you still can't.
So
How come?
let's
How come?
see, 3, 6, and 12 months. So the 12-month program actually, if you sign up for 12 months, you get access to absolutely everything. For the 3 and 6 months, you get all of the uke lessons, but there's extra content from like from some of the other schools that you may not get. If I remember correctly, that there's some special VIP content that you only get that's not
Let's
ukulele
try
stuff.
this.
It's other instruments, and I think that's really the main difference. There's probably other small differences, but no matter what subscription you have, the other difference I think is how many video exchanges you can submit within a certain time period is different from 3, 6, and 12 months, and the but you have access to all the lessons, whether it's beginning to advanced, no matter what, when you sign up for the 3, 6, or 12-month program.
Okay, Brian, how come you don't have
Oh, congratulations,
How
Rhonda.
come
I'm
you don't
so
have
glad that you
headphones, Brian?
got the 6 months for Mother's Day. That's awesome. Woohoo! I'm not sure if the discount can be extended, but if you sign up on ArtistWorks mailing list, they do have sales on occasion, and so you can get those. You can see if maybe one of those pops up for you. The ArtistWorks link, it would be artistworks.com/ukulele. It's pretty easy. I'll see if I can type it in real fast. ArtistWorks. So
Where is my NDI?
artistworks.com/ukulele. Yeah, for some reason I can't always write out website stuff, so you see me actually write out dot and com in there.
There's
So.
Brian. Hey, Brian.
Hey,
So
you
we
hear
have
me?
Brian. I can't
Yeah,
hear him currently, but I do see Brian. Hi, Brian Tolentino. It's so good to see
hey,
you.
aloha, everyone. Happy anniversary, Craig. Happy birthday.
Huh, I
Can you
cannot
hear me?
hear Brian.
Yeah, we cannot hear him,
Oh,
which is really odd.
uh,
Brian,
My
how
mic
come?
is working.
my mic is working.
Let's try this. External. Try that one more time.
Check.
Oh,
Can
there
you hear
you
me?
go.
There you go.
So Sarah's not going to be able to hear you, but that's okay.
Yes, that's right. Go ahead and
Okay.
pop yourself up in the
Hi,
screen.
Mr.
But
Tolentino.
I wanted to wish Craig a happy birthday, happy
No.
anniversary. Oh, wait, that's not you. How you guys doing, man?
Doing good, doing good.
Thanks for the workshop. It was really informative. So if any of you are even hinting at joining, just join. You'll have a blast.
Oh my gosh, no, Brian, I want to say thank you for all the amazing work that you've been doing with the Ukulele Friends Hawaii group on
Oh no,
Facebook.
it's all of us. It's all of us that have a passion to share and kind of educate the unique history of the ukulele in Hawaii. So we're having a blast, man.
Oh my gosh, because I know we're doing 2 live streams a week now, right? So Monday and Thursdays.
Yes, Mondays is just us. There's Craig and Sarah, Jake Shimabukuro, Herb Ote Jr., David Kamakahi, Brittany Paiva, Asa Young, uh, Holly Seabury, Kama Hopkins. There's about 10 of us. And we just talk shop. We share our unique experiences as players, being that we all learn differently. Yeah? So it's fun. It's fun to just talk shop and BS hard, brainstorm hard.
And I know tomorrow's theme is going to be teaching and a little bit of business theme
Yeah,
talk.
yeah. Some of that. Some of the business side is knowing choose your friends wisely so you don't spend money. Because when you know Craig, he's the gear guy, right? So it's
Again, to
yeah, we'll be
defend
spending.
myself, I always give like an inexpensive option that no one listens to me on that at all. So,
What is that?
oh my gosh, because what is the lineup for the special guests coming up on Thursdays?
Okay, so this coming Thursday, which is May 28th, we'll be talking about Otasan. And on that, we'll have Herb Ota Jr., his son, and we've lucky enough to got Roy Sakuma, who was Otasan's student. So we'll be talking about Otasan. Then the week after that, June, is it June? June 3rd, we'll be talking to Tom and Nooney Walsh, one of the top two experts in the history of the ukulele. So that will be really fun to hear, talking about Manuel Nunez and uh, that time from 1879 is when the first Portuguese sailors came, and he's credited with developing the first ukulele. Then after that, we'll be talking about Mokeale, who's also on the Sons of Hawaii. Mokeale. Then we'll be talking about Jesse Kalima. Um, we're going to have part two on talking about Brother Is with Gaylord Holomalia, his musical director, all the way till the end. And then we'll have Kahoano Lake, um, the K Lake Trio. And then I just talked to Pat Enos, and we'll be talking about Bill Tapia, who was born in 1908 in Hawaii. So he knew Manuel Nunez, and Bill Tapia's opened the Royal Hawaiian Hotel, the Pink Palace. So we'll be talking a little bit of history, and we have some more surprises planned. So those are Thursdays. Yeah,
And
if you want to follow us.
right now, is it always at 10 a.m. Hawaii time?
Yes, which is
One.
six six no wait four yeah it's 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific, 5 a.m. Japan. For now it is, yeah.
Awesome,
It's like
awesome,
and
awesome,
we have
awesome.
a lot of fun, sharing stories and uh just talking story and having fun. Yeah, so please join us, Ukulele Friends. It's on our Facebook page, Ukulele Friends Hawaii. You can check us out. You need to be a member or a friend or whatever it is to be able to chat with us. So, but you can still watch it even though you're not a member. It goes live and then it's rebroadcast, so it stays on our page. So you can actually search for past videos and talk stories. So yeah.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. I bring tissues. Yeah, I think sometimes or Thursdays at
Really,
least.
I know you were listening, but that was fun. You got really emotional,
Yeah.
and that's how it is, man. That's how it
Oh,
is.
this is so cool, and again, we're so honored to be a part of it. So thank you for spearheading everything and just putting in the work. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. This is a way to socially connect while we have to socially distance. Yeah, so it's fun. It's fun.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Brian, for stopping in, and we'll
All
see
right,
you
man.
tomorrow.
Thanks. Congratulations, you guys.
Thank you.
Keep it up, man. Keep it up. I'm going to sign up pretty soon. Not yet, but soon.
Awesome. Oh,
Artist
sorry,
work.
sorry.
Go check them out.
Ooh, crap. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Thanks, Brian.
Okay. See you guys.
Oh my gosh, always a fantastic person to check in with. Again, huge thank you to you guys for helping me celebrate my birthday today. Thank you to the Ukulele Club of Winnipeg. I'm gonna put their oh um, uh, one information there again. Hopefully these dates stay safe, and I hope you guys are staying safe as well. I know this has affected numerous people all around the world, especially in the ukulele scene too. So be careful, be safe. Um, Again, thank you to the Ukulele Club. Thank you to Artist Works and all our students who joined us for today as well. And Sarah says thank you. She's off with Cameron at the moment. But again, thank you guys for your support and checking in. And if you have any questions, please hit us up at chimazel@gmail.com, or if there's anything you'd like to uh, us to kind of focus on for future live streams. I will keep you updated on the next kind of big event. I'm not sure it's going to have the same capacity of Minifest 3, but we'll see. I have definitely some plans in the works. But thank you guys again. Stay safe. We'll see you soon. Aloha.